I want to just talk to you guys about something that's very, very interesting. The fear of love, the fear of change, the fear of being wrong, the fear of hurt. I want to talk to you guys about this because fear is so disabling and debilitating that it can literally stop you in your tracks. And next thing you know, within a flash or a blink of an eye, 10 years have gone by and you have made no progress, and it's all due to fear. I want to talk about this topic because it's very near and dear to me, because from personal experience, I spent over 5 years living in a mind-numbing, debilitating state of fear. And when I look back to those years, and I'm so disappointed in myself because of the progress that I had all the potential in the world to make, I did not make an ounce of it. Now, I can say, in hindsight, that I grew. I grew a lot. And growth is just as important as progress, but I could have gained all of that growth and made progress had I not been afraid. I'm going to put you guys into a scenario. You're walking down the street. It's a beautiful day. It's nice out. Everything is perfect outside. Everything. And as you're walking, you see a huge figure walking towards you. It's an animal. It's big. It's mean. You're going to have one or two reactions. You're going to freeze up, or you're going to run. Either or, neither of these reactions are going to help you get out of that situation. So if you run, you're just running from the situation. You're going to agitate the situation, and it may end poorly. If you freeze up, you have now lost all the ability to defend yourself. So the thing gets closer, and it's a wolf. And wolves don't play. And now you're sitting there frozen, and this wolf sees you as prey. It's going to eat you. Or you ran, the wolf's faster than you, it will catch you, and it'll be even more angry. But you did two things. And both of those things that you chose to do was out of fear. And that fear shut down all of your logic. Because at that moment, your life flashed before you. You didn't know what to do. I'm going to give you another scenario. You have a decision, whatever decision it is, but you have a decision, and it seems like the most important decision that you have to make. Any wrong move can change your life negatively. And you have to make this decision. You don't really have a time frame, but sooner is better than later. But because the decision is so hard and so scary, and the outcome of the decision is so frightening, you drag your feet, and you keep dragging your feet, and you're not making the decision. And the next thing you know, it's taken out of your hand, and the default decision is made. But you drag your foot because you were afraid of the outcome, because you were afraid on whether or not you can make the decision. These are all things about fear. There's certain other types of fear as well. Fear that stems from trauma from your past. I know a lot of people who are afraid to drive in a car because they were involved in a really bad car accident at a young age, or they know someone who died in a car accident, or who was paralyzed in a car accident, that they themselves no longer want to get behind a wheel. So I know people that are in their 60s who've never driven a car because of someone when they were 12 passed away. And that memory and that image stayed in their mind, and it disabled them. Now you're like, oh, okay, but it's just driving. But sometimes driving plays a huge role in certain things that we can and we can't do. And fear is like that. Usually fear comes in the form of something that we need to get over to get to the next hump and the next level, but we're not able to because we were so afraid. We were in fear of our lives. I'm going to quote Will Smith, but he said, everything that you want is on the other side of fear. And it's true. Because a lot of the time, the fear that is placed on us is fear that is scaring us to get to the next level. I like to look at life as a mountain. And it gets scarier the more and more you climb. So that's why a lot of people stay in the valley. They stay low, they stay dumbed down, they stay down there. It's easy. It's the ground is beneath their feet. They're shored up because they're not going to fall, they're not going to trip, they're not going to tumble down. But when you start climbing that mountain trying to reach higher heights, it gets riskier and riskier and scary and even more scary. Each height comes with a new unknown. And a lot of the times, people without even knowing, it's not that you can't be successful or you don't want it. You're literally afraid of success because it's unknown. It's like, I don't know what it's like. I'm afraid of it. So you'll either plateau or you'll stay low. But the people who are not afraid, who have gotten past that, they're like, I'm going to climb this mountain. I don't care if I'm afraid of heights. I'm going to climb, and I'm going to climb, and I'm going to reach higher and higher heights until I get to the place that I need to get to. And once they do that, they realize there was nothing to be afraid of. And it's all easier said than done. But there are ways to break fear. First and foremost, you're going to have to trust in your higher power. And understand that if you were supposed to live in fear, then it would feel natural. It would feel normal and it would feel good. But everybody knows that fear is one of the worst feelings that you can ever have in any form. And I'm always trying to stay out of religion because it's a murky area and people have different beliefs, but in all of the religions that I've come across and read up on and studied, fear is a no-no. So that's the consensus. Fear causes stress. It causes anxiety. And stress and anxiety are some of the biggest killers that we have. They're silent killers, just like fear is a silent killer. It's something that will silently hold you back. And the moment that you release fear from your life and from your mind, you will start to live a little bit better. My life started to change the moment that I said, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. So some of you may know, because I've talked about it briefly, I joined a cult in 2012, and it was unknowingly. The cult was wrapped in a Christian paper, but the truth behind it and what that movement bred was very cult-like and very cultish, and each and every day got harder and harder. There was a point in time where I thought everyone wanted to kill me. Everyone, literally. And I was afraid. I was afraid to go outside. I used to be so active and always outdoors and always doing something and just exploring and just living my life without fear because I knew that God had my back. And when I was in this movement, I didn't even want to go get the mail sometimes because I thought something was going to happen. Everyone was the enemy. Everyone was scared. I also thought that the world was going to end at any moment. At any moment, a bomb was going to drop and hit my house. Or a bomb was going to drop and kill my family. It plagued my mind. It plagued my dreams. It plagued everything. And it literally, at one point, made me say, I don't need to do X, Y, and Z anymore because we're all going to die soon. So no longer was I living to live and achieve. I was living to literally die. And I knew that this wasn't right. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. And I battled with it daily, but I was around people who were like, no, this is how we should feel. This is how we should move. And it wasn't until one day that I was like, I can't keep living in this fear, that I woke up snap. It's like a light bulb hit. Boom. And I was like, this isn't of God. This isn't right. I shouldn't be in this much fear. And I am. And God literally says, I have not given you a spirit of fear. Not to quote, but that's what the God that I serve and follow says. And that moment was life-changing. Because it was at that moment, it was like the stormy clouds had a break in it and I can see the sunshine. And every day I worked towards getting out of fear. Every day. Like clockwork. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. And at first I had to tell myself repeatedly, don't be scared. Don't be scared. No fear. No fear. No fear. No fear. I had to continuously tell myself that to dehypnotize myself, to get myself out of that feeling. And now that I'm released from that feeling, I could never go back. But I want to help people all over the world to not be afraid. Because fear is debilitating and it's disabling and it will literally stop you in your tracks. Me putting out this podcast is me getting over my fear. My fear of being judged. My fear of being scrutinized because of an opinion that others might not have. And my fear of just putting myself out there in a way that I haven't before. So me putting this out was also a sign of fear being released. And that's a big deal. Because it's progress. And it's only going to push me towards my goal. So I challenge you guys to ponder on, am I truly living in fear? What is stopping me from getting to the next level? Is it self-sabotage like last week? Is it procrastination? Is it just laziness? Because it could just be pure laziness. Or is it fear? Or is it all four? But if fear is anywhere in there, it's time to trick your mind into not being afraid anymore. Understanding this, that anxiety is fear's fierce big brother. And it's like the action word of fear. And a lot of us suffer from anxiety. I know I do. And I have to tell myself when I'm having an anxiety attack or my anxiety comes up that this is irrational. This is not logical. Pay attention to the signs. You have no reason to be afraid. There's certain times I lost my cousin some years back in a car accident. And it affected my family as a whole. And I know for me, when it's late at night and people have been drinking, I get very afraid that something will happen. And I get very afraid with my friends and family members when they're going out and they're drinking. And just in general, the people on the road. My cousin passed away from a drunk driver hitting her car. And those things always brought fear in me. But there was times where the fear that it brought in me and the anxiety it brought in me stopped me from actually going to do things that I should have done. Like I missed out on a performance because it was a late at night performance. It wasn't like late, but it was like in the evening when I knew it would drag. And because this anxiety just came up, I didn't want to go for some reason. And it was around the time of the year that my cousin had passed away. So it wasn't until later on where I was able to self-reflect, that I was able to figure out, okay, this is why I couldn't do it. So fear literally can show up in so many ways. It really can. So it's up to us. This is another exercise that you can do with the 5 whys. And when you find your biggest fears, get to the root of those fears. Because if you can get to the root of the fear and why you are so fearful of this, then you will be able to move forward. Because you'll be able to see where it was in that root and cut it off at the roots and start fresh. So ponder on that. Ponder on fear, what it is and where it's stopping you at in your life today. And push forward, push through, and push past it. Because we can. And I have faith in everybody listening to this right now At this time next year, you will have at least uprooted one of your major fears. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Just do one. Start with one. But uproot that bad boy and get rid of it, because fear should not be in your vocabulary going forward. We're entering into a whole new decade, 2020. Let's enter into that decade with a lot less fear. Simple. I will share one of my goals. And I always say this to anybody who has a fear of heights, because I do. My goal is to fly a plane. At first I wanted to skydive. That's a little bit too much for me. It's really not my personality. Maybe one day I'll do it. But the thought of doing it kind of gave me this pull to do something in the air. And I'm like, I've flew on airplanes, but I've never actually flown an airplane. So I was like, you know what, I'll take some piloting lessons and see what that does for me. Because it has to help you conquer your fear to some extent. So you can do that. There's a lot of other different things you can do with heights. But with that being said, ponder on where fear is in your life and cut it at the root. Thank you again. It's been real, and peace.